Ben, I wanted to get you in today because you're an expert at going through these things. This is all the paperwork from yesterday. This is that reset deal, page after page, document after document, on defence, on standards, on alignment, on the climate. You've been through them. I've been through them. The Prime Minister calls this historic, a win-win. Others say it's a surrender. You've been through it. What do you make of yesterday's deal?
Well, before we go to that, can I just remind viewers that in September 2023, when he thought he was off camera, Keir Starmer said, if I were ever to become Prime Minister, I would align us so closely with the European Union that people wouldn't be able to tell the difference whether we were in or out. And he's the same Prime Minister that wanted to have a second referendum and defeat the vote to leave the European Union. And I think the other thing people ought to look at when judging this deal is the massive smile von der Leyen had on her face yesterday. It was a clear victory for the EU. You don't get the EU out on a podium saying what a fantastic deal it is unless they've absolutely taken you to the cleaners. And constitutionally, as well as militarily, from a defence perspective, yesterday was a sellout of the United Kingdom. And, of course, I mustn't forget our fisheries, where, you know, the period of time before the deal can be theoretically unpicked has been extended by 12 years. And it was remarkable to me that in defending the position on the fisheries, lots of commentators have said, well, fishing only contributes 0.03% of GDP. Well, there's a reason for that. It's because we've given all our fish away to the European Union. But yesterday, it was a really sad day for those of us who voted to leave the EU. It's been a sad process, frankly, for those of us who voted to leave the EU ever since 2016. The vote to leave was ignored by Theresa May. She tried to keep us in the single market. That deal was defeated. Boris Johnson promised he'd get Brexit done, but he didn't. And actually this deal, the strategic partnership that they want to set up on defence, was contemplated in the political declaration that Boris Johnson signed back in 2019. It didn't actually then come out in the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, but it was very much in his mind in 2019, which is effectively the United Kingdom contributing to the European Defence Fund, so that's paying money in to a defence project for the research and development of military weaponry on an interoperable basis. Now, that's the crucial word, interoperable. So when they say we will be an independent country with our own military able to combat on our own terms, that's not true, because when this comes into fruition, we will be inextricably linked and meshed in the EU framework for defence. We won't be able to operate our weaponry without their blessing. That's how dangerous this is to the United Kingdom.
So Keir Starmer would counter that, of course, it makes sense to be strategically aligned to our nearest partners, especially with Vladimir Putin on the rampage. What would you say to that? Strategically, he would say it makes sense.
I completely disagree. The European Union isn't about the promotion of independent militaries of member states across Europe coming together to cooperate. It's about bringing it all together into one body of one military force under Brussels' direction. And we are, and we mustn't forget this, no matter how hollowed out our military is, it is the best military in Europe by miles. It's them who should be paying us to come in. But in perfect British government style, we've managed to give away the baby and we've paid for the privilege of giving it away. It's absolutely absurd. And the same goes, frankly, for this deal that he's done on sanitary and phytosanitary regulations, so-called making, you know, as he said just now in Lidl, making food cheaper on the shelves in this country. But actually what he's done, I'll come to the constitutional point, but what he's done is made it impossible for this country to make regulations which suit British farmers. Yes, the same farmers who he robbed of the ability to hold their farms when they die earlier, last year when he brought out those IHT changes. The farming industry's been thrown under a bus by the sanitary and phytosanitary alignment with the European Union. But the other thing about the sanitary and phytosanitary alignment is that we now will become dynamically aligned with the European Union on those regulations. That means, Martin, that when the European Parliament passes a new regulation, we automatically take it on board. Sounds a bit like being part of the EU, doesn't it? And the court that will adjudicate that whether or not we're adhering to our obligations will be the European Court of Justice. So you'll have a foreign power making laws for the United Kingdom adjudicated by a foreign court.